Hi there, everyone.
Oh,
Ron here, Variable Play, and welcome to LarongAtin.
Hello.
hello.
Hi, everyone.
Good
Good
evening.
Good
evening.
evening.
So I'm joined by Freddy Tan and Nico.
Mhm.
How are you guys? Nico,
We're
welcome
good.
back. We're
Hello.
glad that you had
Thanks.
a successful operation. We're gonna try to keep this short. That way you don't
Yeah,
get
I'll
stressed too
yeah,
much.
I'll let you guys know naman if parang I need to lie down or anything. So
Okay.
yeah, for those who don't know, I had surgery. That's why I wasn't at Bacon because while you guys were playing, I was being cut open, and then um, so
Um,
They're
installed
implanting that
some
sorry.
chip in your
microchips.
head.
It they
the ano
implanted.
the mind control chip from the US government. Yeah. Para
Hmm.
pag
Oh,
may
did
may sasabihin na word yung isang tas ma-activate yung splinter cell.
ooh, nice, nice. So you can be a Cobra agent.
Yeah. To spy on
Cool.
the board game community of the Philippines.
uh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of conspiracy here. Um, so, but yeah, really glad that you're back. Welcome
Mm.
everyone. Before we get into it, just what games have you guys been playing lately? Um,
Mhm.
Anything you can share? Nico,
Um,
did you get to play games?
Yeah, kasi wala naman akong pwedeng gawin na iba eh. I mean, my doctor told me I can't really work that much. I finished God of War Ragnarok.
Oh,
So that was nice.
nice, nice, nice,
I
nice.
just have to finish the post game content. That was good.
Wow.
Um, yeah. I also was playing so I don't know if you heard of this. Have you heard of Triangle Strategy? Do you know
No,
that?
I have not.
So
I've not.
it's like a Final Fantasy Tactics. It's by the same makers of Octopath Traveler, if you've heard of
Mm-hmm.
Octopath Traveler. So that's
A
the
little bit.
aesthetic is like that. Yeah, it looks like that.
Mm-hmm.
Look like an old NES game with but
Mm-hmm.
mixed with 3D elements. But it's nice because it's like a FF Tactics type game. So I'm sure mga board gamers would really like it because it's the turn based na move your troops. Yeah, so yeah, that's what I was playing kasi so before Holy Week, before my surgery, we went to Japan. So me, Aya, and our family, we went to Japan, and apparently video games are kind of cheap there,
Uh-huh.
surprisingly. The if you buy physical, like the cartridges and the CDs,
Mm-hmm.
yun, parang, so I bought a few games while I was there. And, yun, I bought what did I play? I buy. I bought Bayonetta 3 and Pokemon Snap, but I haven't
Nice.
played those yet. So I'm still, yeah, and God of War Ragnarok and Triangle Strategy. So, yun muna, hindi ko pa natapos yung Triangle Strategy. So, yeah, kasi yeah,
Cool, cool,
I
cool.
can't I have to be just resting eh. So no hard work for me. So that's all I've been doing.
So, kailangan easy mode lang.
Yeah, yeah. No
Okay.
stress, no yeah.
Okay. Good, good, good. How about you, Sir Freddy? What game have you played recently?
It's been a while since our last episode, so medyo marami. But
Mm.
I think most of the games I've played were demo games.
Mm.
Mm.
Like for
Yeah.
example, sa Bacon, I think I got to play one game na hindi demo, but
Mm.
all
Oh,
the games I
okay.
played, I was demoing something.
Yeah.
Ang nilaro ko lang doon during Bacon na hindi demo was uh, Betrayal at Baldur's Gate.
Oh, okay.
Someone
Mm.
was demoing to me.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. So,
yun. Pero
and
lahat ng nilaro ko rin demo eh. Nagde-demo lang ako. Tapos,
yeah, it was work.
I've been doing a lot of Marvel Crisis Protocol and Flesh and Blood demo as
Nice,
well.
Mhm.
nice.
Also
What
playing those games.
what is Flesh and Blood is who's the publisher? Is it a WotC game? No, no. But it's a
No, no, it's
TCG or
It's a company from New Zealand. It's a
Oh wow,
TCG.
okay.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And it's very different. And I'll probably come up with a video comparison of Flesh and Blood
Okay.
with other TCGs, primarily siguro with Magic the Gathering. I wouldn't say it's a better game, but it's a
Mhm.
game that's
It's a
probably just as
different game.
good. It's a very
Yeah,
different
it's
game.
very
Uh,
different
Mhm.
game.
yung mga
I
premises niya talagang iba eh.
yeah, yeah.
Is Shem Phillips involved? Kasi New Zealand. Siya lang kala kong New Zealand na designer.
Although may pet peeve ako sa game na yan, na sa Flesh and Blood, for a game that's been out for several years, yung cards niya, meron akong konting UI issues. Like, some of the
Mm.
problems are like parang, like, hey, we figured this out within like a few months when we started publishing stuff. Bakit yung
Ah.
problema pa rin to? So, may ganun lang.
Uh-huh.
Yun yung
Yeah,
Ah.
pinaka
yeah.
pet peeve ko sa kanya.
But I think it's probably because they're more from, yeah, publishing from their house. I mean, from their shop, and it's not a mainstream, pipeline. Although probably they've expanded to that, but it's
Mhm.
still probably not the same trunk line as what's the
Oh, definitely
uh
not.
cool, 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 cool.
Well,
What I
it can't be worse than the Magic UI. Oh, yung
Wow.
I mean, Magic UI,
No, Magic UI
it's
is
it's classic.
it's it's classic, and people have
Yeah,
have been pre in
yeah.
trained
It's
to
yeah.
recognize it.
There's a term for
Uh,
it. Eh. Yeah. There's a term for that. It's the same as like why keyboards are QWERTY,
Mhm.
yeah.
right? It's because it's because pang retro something design because you needed to have the characters far away so that in a typewriter they don't jam. That's why keyboards are ganun yung arrangement ng letters. So
Mhm.
ganun din yung Magic, parang it's classic. It's not great but it's
It works.
already it's already a standard. I don't know. It's
Mhm.
yeah.
hmm And a wild sigh has appeared.
Oy,
Hello.
hello. Oy.
Sorry.
Hi, hi,
May
hi.
nahabol si Sai.
Oh,
Good,
hello.
good, good. So yon, Sai is also one of the designers in LarongAtin. So Sai, we're in
Mhm.
that section where we talk about the games that you've played recently. Can you share what game you played recently?
So, yung nalaro ko recently, actually, yung dala ni Mikey, yung Azul Chocolatier, tsaka,
Chocolatier, nice.
oo, na, and yung Belfort dito sa bahay, dito sa
Oh,
house,
Mm.
Belfort, and,
I've always wondered how to play that game because I remember I came across some Belfort cards. TMG dati kasi mahilig ng ganon, yung parang lalagyan niya ng card or item yung isang game na gagamitin mo sa iba niyang game.
oo, ang
Mm.
dami niya kasing component.
Yeah.
And then, syempre, yung sa mobile, yung Marvel Snap, yun.
Oh,
Mm.
okay, okay, cool,
Oh
cool, cool.
yeah. I stopped na playing Marvel Snap actually. Ang tagal ko nang it's one of those na one day you just drop it and then oh nga no, I used to play that every day. Yeah.
ang,
Yeah,
ang
But that's a
The
good
fate
game
of a lot
talaga.
of mobile games, no?
Yeah.
yeah.
Pero Marvel
It
Snap's
gets
it's
you to
actually a
play it,
good.
na araw-araw and oras-oras, and then one day you realize, hey, I have to stop this.
Yeah.
Sure, 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 sure. Me, what I've played recently, that I mean, I've played quite a few games. This, this one,
Oh, my
Oh My
orchids.
Orchids. So
Mm.
don't mind that it has this parang connotation with Oh My Goods. A very different game.
Mhm.
But it's from Daryl Chow, and we joined him in our Singapore when we participated in the Asian Board Game Festival. I did get to try this there. I actually got to try this in Bacon, and then I taught it to other people in on game night. Um, it's, yep, splendorish. um, sort of set collection, just cover, but you have these very basic Azul-like choices, either getting all seeds or getting all of the same color. But it's brilliant. It's super fast, and that whole you have a maximum capacity, and then if you have to now sort of let go of cards or have them minus points, and then it's really pretty. And what I'm really impressed with this game is that you can find it in their 7-Eleven, just there. Buy a Coke and Oh My Orchid or Copy King or his other games. So pretty impressive. Um, and I was recommending it for people who's into. I have a few games in the garden theme. I have Verdant, I have Herbaceous, uh, among others, I think. I used to have the Lotus game, so yeah, um, and Fields of Green. Anyways, so uh, thank everyone for joining us. Today we'll be just talking about why we why Larong Atin, what do we stand for? Why are we designing the games that we design this way? And sort of just work around that, referencing also our previous experiences in our different sort of
Mhm.
initiatives that we've run. Recently, we went to um, Valenzuela Learning Center, and basically their big science library. It's called Val Ace, and it's pretty cool. They hosted us. We showed our games, and uh, quite effective. And it really sort of showcases where the game design of Larong Atin is quite effective in.
Mhm.
We also experience this when we participate in ESGF or in Conquest. These are games that we know we can crank out really fast. We don't have a problem of teaching it, and people who will be playing games uh, would not be intimidated. But so maybe you guys can share how was why do you guys design the games that you design? Where is it coming from? What do you think is the purpose of it in the market, and so forth? So maybe Sai, we can listen from you first. Uh,
Okay.
why do you why rogues there? Why crab mentality? Is that the name of the game?
Mm,
Talangkaan.
talangka.
Talangkaan.
Mm,
Okay.
Talangkaan. Ayun.
Okay.
So na-share ko na rin naman na last time. So, yung rogues there is parang ito yung product ng mga natutunan ko from past designs ko like yung rapids tsaka yung ibang prototypes. So, after kasi nung nag-try ako mag-self-publish na marami akong na-realize na parang dapat pala check mo din yung production cost, kung paano yung accessibility nito para sa iba. So, mula doon,
Mm,
tapos yung pinaka-root talaga nun, gusto kong gumawa ng educational game. So, yun, na-share ko
mm,
naman na last time na gusto ko makagawa ng parang math-ish game na
mm. Right,
players
right,
can
right.
count, yun. Tapos, eventually, parang hindi masyadong masaya hanggang sa nag-evolve na siya sa rogues there. So,
Hmm.
ayun
So
yung
the
history ng
motivation was to
mm,
get people to do some basic arithmetic, right?
yes, oo.
Plus and minus of different numbers, and then see if
Mm.
we can come up with a game for it. Cool, cool, cool.
So,
Um,
yun. So, for the talangkaan naman, nauna yon actually, yun yung isa sa mga early designs ko na nauna pa sa rogues there. So, yung sa
Yeah. So
Talangkaan,
correct me if I'm wrong. The
oo,
earlier versions of Talangkaan is in a massive board, not a massive board, but
yes,
it's in a big board, right? And then
mm,
you
right,
really flip
mm,
this crab
token.
over
So,
the token.
so,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
so malaking malaking nag-start siya sa malaking board na parang ticket to ride, tapos may drafting involved na ang dami-daming cards, ang daming crabs,
Mm-hmm.
tapos sobrang heavy nung take that hanggang sa hindi na siya masaya kasi personalan na yung take that. And then so parang tina-target, walang nananalo kasi yun yung essence eh, naghihilang kayo pababa, nagiging loop siya, walang nakaka-finish. So yun, streamlined ng streamlined based dun sa sa mga feedbacks yun. Hanggang sa ngayon,
Wala na siyang
tingin ko
board.
wala na siyang board, nakuha ko na yung
Wala
tingin
na
ko
siyang
yung
board.
gameplay na gusto kong mangyari
Right.
na hindi
Yeah.
masyadong personalan, na hindi naman nakakasakit na
Konti
hinila
lang.
ka.
Masyadong
Konti lang.
uh,
So, ayun. So, tingin ko na pinapolish ko na lang siya ng konti. So, yung Talangkaan naman, yun talaga yung parang feeling ko na kumbaga natisod ko na concept, which is very Pinoy. Yun yung time kasi na yun, fresh pa si Hugot.
I see, I see, I see.
Hugot, tapos si Darna. Yan, so lumalabas. So yung time na yun, gusto ko rin gumawa ng something Pinoy. So
Right.
si Hugot kasi
Cool.
nagustuhan ko yung concept niya kasi Pinoy siya, pero hindi siya yung parang traditional na na stereotype Pinoy. Like kunwari pag sinabing Pinoy dati, yung lumalabas na games, and actually hindi naman sa is puro nakafocus sa Philippine mythology, even yung sa literature, sa comics. So yung Hugot, lumabas siya parang, uy, teka, parang
Pop
parang siyang
culture.
pop culture siya. Cards Against Humanity siya, pero at the same time, iba yung take niya. So, Pinoy siya, at tapos pop culture. So, parang sabi ko, parang, ano kaya yung Pinoy din, and then, hindi masyadong napapansin. So, yun yung nakita ko, yung crab mentality, yung
So you wanted, you were inspired by the designs that came before it, Darna, Hugot, which were Filipino made, and but also wanted to explore what other Filipino themes can we showcase in games. But you did sort of started to realize that you had to design it a certain way to make it more palatable to the market that you wanna reach. We'll tackle the market in a bit. Nico, how about you? I know your background. We
Hello.
talked about this. Yeah, we can hear.
Okay.
We talked about.
I have
We
a
talked
mute
about
button
it in
pala
the
here na
past.
madali lang. So, I can
Oh, cool.
mute pala when may back in. Masyadong yung mic kanina eh, na it's getting all the aircon. So, pag hindi ako nagsasalita, I'll mute it na lang.
Okay.
So, actually yung story yung story ko in game design and the story of Balangay is a little convoluted in a way. And in hindsight, parang masyado kong ginagame, I think. Masyadong gamer yung approach. Dapat mas simple yung... Kasi ganito, Balangay was started, before Balangay, yung pre-Balangay, what we wanted to do, this was the naive phase of game design when I was still naive about... Ay, where's Sai? What happened to Sai? And anyways, I was still naive about game design. Kala ko madali lang, kala ko simple lang. What we wanted to do was make a TCG based on Philippine folklore and mythology kasi I always was interested in that, and I was into Philippine culture. I mean, my undergraduate thesis was on ethnomusicology. So I wanted to help popularize and talk about our culture, our indigenous culture, and folklore. So ganon. But as we were designing and working on this was pre-balangay. Parang hindi lumalabas na yung mga issue na it's not really feasible, especially with the medium na TCG and the level of experience that we had at the time. And then that's when we had our first gig, which was yung Resilient Survive and Thrive, which was a environmental game. And it was a really big hit, not
Mhm.
in the like gamer type thing, but as a tool, as a educational tool. And we keep hearing stories about how it kasi ginagamit siya ng UP, na how it changed a lot of like the policies and the perspectives of mga LGUs and stuff like that, because of the how games can as a medium show complex relationships and lessons that other mediums struggle to show. Kasi nga games are systemic by nature, so we can describe systems in ways that brochures and videos and all the other linear forms cannot properly do. So we wanted to explore that further, like using games as a advocacy medium. But then we started to see now we were hitting a wall, which was that games were not that well appreciated and understood in the Philippine context. Kasi there's only so much we can do if we want to maximize parang the usage of games in advocacy. Then we also have to popularize games then.
Mm.
And so that's why we ended up looking for IPs that can help popularize tabletop gaming, and that's why we ended up with mga ABS-CBN games, so
Right.
mga Darna and stuff like that. So parang every step of Balangay has been to solve the previous step in a way. Parang we did Resilience because we wanted to learn more about game design to make the Philippine folklore games. And then we did ABS-CBN games because we wanted to popularize games so that we could do more advocacy games. And then yon, parang masyadong ano I
Naka,
if you're
you were playing a Euro game, Nico. You were
yes,
playing a Euro.
we were too parang forward thinking in alam mo yung when you play a Euro game na parang masyado mong iniisip yung next move mo tas nag-end na yung game tas hindi mo man nagawa yung gusto mong gawin. Parang
And
ganun yung nangyayari. It was too
it loops
forward.
back, di ba? It loops back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I need this. So, oh, okay. In order to get this, I need this. In order to get that, I need that.
Yes.
Which needs the first one. So, okay, let me
Yes.
work on.
Yeah, basically parang we were nag-engine building. Engine building to make the games that we eventually want to make. And it works in a way, but also it's not a good way to do business because you're doing too much risk. You're taking on too much risk.
Mhm.
Sometimes the simplest solution is the better one. And so now, especially with the pandemic, it's a time to reflect and to think about things a little more, and to be wiser, I guess, in choosing the projects that we're going to work on. But basically, ayun, my our motivation has always been to use games as a medium for social relevance and social change. And in order to do that, the medium itself, the games itself, has to also be popular. Um, that's kind of the story of Balangay. But now we're a little bit wiser, more what's this practical, I guess, because um don't think we're a nation of what, like 100 million, our population. I don't think we're going to convert that 100 million into gamers. Not even a percentage, not even like 1 million gamers in the Philippines is might be too much. So if that's our goal, if that would be our goal, is like to popularize games to that extent, 1 million gamers in the Philippines, it's we're just gonna come out disappointed, I think. So now Balangay is looking into projects wherein, even if if our partner is happy, they're able to use the game in a workshop, and they are able to make 100 plus people enjoy the game and they reach their goal, then that's already a great win. And that's why we're doing now a project with the IPO, Intellectual Property Office. We're making a game on about copyright and intellectual property rights. And also, I'm mid project with another game with Forest Foundation, which is like a simulation game on landscape usage. So yeah, but anyways, yun. So if they're just able to use our games in their own workshops, that's already a big thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool, cool, cool. Nice, nice, nice. Um,
Mhm.
for me, it goes way, way back. Um, 2015. I approached. I think we were able to do it in the same year. No, Sir Freddy. Um, we talked in 2015 and
Mhm.
sort of made a. So I approached Sir Freddy. I had an idea of a game, and the premise was kind of like Hugot, but I was coming in from a sort of activity style Christian setting. So it's called Coats and Verses. And that was 2015, surprisingly. uh, we talked about it in 2015, and in a few months, we were able to release the game. And Yon. But I remember our conversation with Sir Freddy. I made a prototype and went to Sir Freddy and Mom Des, and I showed them the game, and the whole premise was okay. So it's all just cards. The box you have to figure out how to best do it. Um, but the core premise is that target market is the general public. We're 100 million Filipinos. I'm making the game as sort of as easy as I could, but at the same time, barrier for entry for us to getting into something is um, as least as I mean, as small as a risk as possible. But so I remember Ma'am Des even saying, "Okay, Freddy, how much do you want to burn?" And that was a statement that Ma'am Des even mentioned and was like, "Okay," because we really didn't know. We really didn't know whether that blue thing over there would start anything. No clue. We didn't know how to where to print, who to talk to, zero knowledge about anything. So and then yes, from there you can see the rest of the titles that came out: Folded Wishes, Watchlist, Plataforma. A lot of improvements. Layo ng card stock ng Codes and Verses quite good, pero the card
Mhm.
sides not so good.
The cutting, yeah.
The cutting is not great. The box is not that great. The rule book, there is no rule book. It's just on the cards. um, and so many mistakes. Even if we were all sort of looking at it, this looks acceptable already. Yet, you learn and you iterate. And yun nga, so at least Sir Freddy and I are in similar backgrounds in the industry, so we wanted to approach it in the least amount of risk as possible. We're really trying to minimize the risk as much because we really didn't know. It was like, I mean, yeah, we don't know because we're competing with all of those. That's the competition. At least from what we understood in the beginning. Yeah, even the design and the color space that we chose for Codes and Verses were all designed. I was putting Q and V and putting it in different spots in the shelf, checking if we can spot it. Hence the color. The color of Q and V is the least amount used color that's brightest among all board games. To this date, I'm still correct. Does it actually make us a good box cover? Probably not. We don't realize that it's a game. But you can spot it from afar. So,
Yeah.
so a
I
lot of
think
those,
yung ganyan, that also became an issue for Darna, right? Yung shelf space
yeah.
issue.
Yes, yes. That's why we had display boxes. Pero yung mass market retailers didn't end up using the boxes anyways. Parang they just put, parang that's our intention, but we don't, once we give it to them, they'll be the ones to choose how they're going to use it.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
actually have a lot of unused display boxes kasi they never got them. So yun.
I remember, guys, in your early days when the game was already published, it's already outside. Do you guys go to the stores and you look for your game and you put it on the top shelf?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
There was even one
Yes. I
yes.
real like I make sure
Yeah.
all of our
Document yan.
games.
I think parang ginawa ko pa is tinatakpan ko yung mga politically ayoko. Like I think naglabas ng memoir si Enrile tapos tinakpan ko ng Darna. Para matago yung book ni Enrile.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Although
I
that
remember
also
in
reminds me one time I went to a store and I said, "Where's the Darna?" And they and on the counter were mga foreign games, Cards Against Humanity, mga ganon. Tapos, I asked where's Darna and the cashier said, it's somewhere there kasi those are local games. So parang dun mo pa lang parang, there's discrimination na the
ooh,
cashier knows na the international games we put up front, the local games we
the
put
in
in some shelf
the
somewhere.
sorry, let me correct that. The fake international games that we sell up front.
Oh, no, this was before. Because if you remember, when Darnak and in the early days, wala pang issue ng fakes. Fakes came
Meron.
out in like
Sabay ang
20...
no dude, sabay lumabas kasi sa KS nanggaling ang Cards Again. So, sabay lumabas ang fake tsaka hindi
Ay,
fake.
sorry. Hindi cards yon. It was mga Uno and Monopoly Deal. Yes.
Okay,
Kasi, yes, tama.
okay.
Pero at that time, yung Cards Against Humanity, hindi pa lumalabas sa mass market retailers because you're right. Kasi nasa Kickstarter pa lang siya. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yun.
Okay.
But the
In that
local...
sense, yeah.
Yes.
Oo.
Yeah. So,
Nilalagay tayo sa ilalim. So, ang gagawin ko naman, lalagay ko sa top 10 sellers.
yeah. That was a issue before. But there was some good insight because when I asked the cashier, they didn't know who I was. They just thought I was a random customer looking for it. So parang,
Yeah, of course.
parang, they're already sorting it even within the store pa lang.
Right. Kaya Sir Freddy, what was your motivation? Especially, we had our first foray, and then it expanded to Nico and the rest of the group.
Sige. I'd like to start with bakit natin naisip itong topic na to for tonight. And when we were discussing this, and
Okay. I'll just get a
I
jacket. Wait lang.
lumabas siya dun
Sige,
sa
go
ano,
ahead.
when we were having that discussion na why we did the event at Val Ace, why
Right.
we do things like Bacon, and how it's all integrated with what we're trying to do with LarongAtin, 'di ba? So it's like a multi-pronged approach on how to
Mhm.
grow the tabletop gaming community. And LarongAtin is filling a role there na hindi kayang i-fill nung mga games na nakikita natin from abroad. And
Mhm.
so yun. And like ang maganda nga rito is yung event natin sa Valenzuela, di ba? In our discussion, somebody asked, magkano yung benta ron? And then sabi ko, wag niyo na itanong kasi to begin with, when we do events like this, and even sa Bacon, we also felt this a
Trust
little bit
me.
sa Bacon because yung audience nga ng Bacon this year is very different from Bacon last year. Bacon this
Mhm.
year had a lot more students
Right.
And yung sales, naramdaman natin na teka, mas price sensitive yung mga estudyante. And we also
Mhm.
noticed this in Conquest 2022 na price
Yep.
sensitive talaga sila. And
Yep.
this is yung hole or vacuum na kailangan natin mapasok, malagyan ng something na merong something accessible na kaya nilang ma you know, reachable na yung in terms of price, in terms of yung theme, and yun yung role na na gustong i-attempt punuin ng larong atin. Maganda nga yun,
Mhm.
sinabi rin natin yung doon sa Val Ace, 'di ba may isang estudyante ron, tinanong ka ron, ano yun? Ah, what does it take to become a successful game
Designer.
board game
Game
designer?
designer.
Napakaganda ng sagot mo ron eh. Yung sa akin mahaba, yung sa'yo, ang sagot mo eh, be successful at something else first. And
Yes.
truthfully, I think that's kind of true for all of us in our team, that uh, we all do not need to rely on making this successful right now, 'di ba? Of
Mhm.
course, we all want this to become successful in the future, but
Yep. Yep.
we cannot we're not relying on this right now, which is why we're able to build and do stuff like, yung bacon nga ng variable play, and why we're able to do events like Valenzuela City Library that we're not really doing to sell, 'di ba? Ang sinabi ko nga, hindi tayo dito para mag-harvest, nandito tayo para magtanim, 'di ba? So
Mhm.
we're still in that planting stage. Hindi pa tayo nag-harvest. We're not trying to sell games right now to these students whose budgets are very limited, but we do want
Yep.
them to have that experience, and we do want them to have that joy of playing games and the benefits that come with it. So yun yung why ng ano. And etong why na to, this etong why na tanong na ito, dahil meron na nga akong more than almost 3 decades of experience in this industry. Siguro ito yung midlife crisis ko, mga uh, halfway through, parang may sense ba talaga itong ginagawa ko? Am I making a difference in society by, selling games, demoing games, teaching people games? Uh, so that's a whole topic altogether na iba yung benefits of gaming, but rest assured that I do believe there is. Otherwise,
Mhm.
nagkaroon na ako ng matinding midlife crisis. So, uh, but yun nga, specifically for larong atin, it's one of the prongs that is part of that whole goal of growing that tabletop gaming community. It's to fill that goal na meron tayong that hole na kulang from the tools we previously had, and now we're adding more tools for that. And I think kitang-kita siya pagka nga sabi ni Ron, yung experience rin, I think, ng ibang some of the volunteers ng VPN na una hindi na naiintindihan bakit tayo may ganitong games, tapos when they're demoing it, then they realize, oh nga no, this is so
Yep.
easy to teach, and mabilis yung jump in point ng tao compared to, let's say, explain natin, ano ba yung explain natin, tapos magkano siya? 2,500. Biglang, ano na agad, di ba?
uh,
Okay, di ba?
yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so
That's
yun
the big
talaga
problem.
yung yung role, I think, that larong atin tries to fill. So it's
Mhm.
one of the arrows we have in our quivers, di ba?
Yes.
So
It's
yun
also
yung yeah, go ahead.
it's also, if you're a gamer, a core gamer, maybe you won't really feel represented by Larong Atin because um your experience is with core games and those things, and that's perfectly fine. That is normal. But when you see Larong Atin in action, in demos, in the parang casual settings, in conventions where hindi core gamers, that's where you kind of see the difference, because it's also an issue of representation in a way, because these games, they showcase Filipino culture, and you can see it talaga in the people who play it, na parang they feel represented. Kasi yung mga
Mhm.
international games, they don't have that same parang it doesn't resonate with Filipino culture. It will resonate with you as a gamer, but not necessarily as a Filipino in the Filipino culture way. So, ayun, sabi nga ni Sir Freddy, larong atin is we see uh, if the goal is really to spread tabletop gaming, there are many ways of doing that. And the way that a lot of core gamers are doing it, by sharing their games, sharing it with their friends, making mga, what do you call it, mga game meetups and small game conventions, things like Bacon, those are actually really good and really great. And parang we also highly appreciate those things, and we're also part of those things in many ways, like especially si Ron and si Sir Freddy. It's just that it's not na that may kulang sila. It's just that there are still other aspects of Filipino society that are not directly addressed by those events. And
Mhm.
yun, that's why we're doing these things, to parang cater nga. It's a multi-pronged attack. Parang
Mhm.
ganon. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
our this is our role in that advocacy.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can see in the photos that I'm showing on screen, um, yung accessibility nga nung games na we've designed. I can easily teach. Um, Pinaka-komplikado na natin si Folded because it appealed on an international sense. Pero any of those I'll pick up. Yun nga, in one of the photos, mga lola yung kailangan turuan. And so, okay, here's quotes and verses. And then, of course, lahat sila parang syempre automatically nakarelate mga mommy, and then, they were like really interested with the game immediately. With the kids, sinalangan ng watch list, sinalangan ng rogues there, done. And what really impressed us was yung plataforma. So there was these kids na, so parang yun yung pinakamabilis kasi namin ma-deploy. So plataforma, ganyan. And I don't know, baka siguro mga grade 4, grade 5, yung
Mhm.
bata. So they're a bunch friends. Ang sabi ng bata, debate ba to? Kasi parang, ganun ba? And then just suddenly poured in all of their civica and um, their araling panlipunan knowledge, and just really was overly competitive and was really selling their platforms. And nalaman na lang namin afterwards na, oh, debate team pala talaga yung bata. Kaya pala parang excited na baluarte niya yung game. Pero nagulat kami, and there's a few other kids there na who were able to really like showcase their talents, and yeah, they played pretty much all of our games without any issue. And they're able to really pick it up quite fast, quite easy. And I think that's where it really shines. Doon namin nakikita kami as a tabletop advocate, if we see someone na alam namin is Filipino, very 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 new, or has zero knowledge about um, uh, board gaming, more likely, mas safe bet is to pick up a Larong Atin game, and you'll be able to teach that game and get them playing, get them enjoying the hobby really fast.
Nakakaba nga nung una kasi parang hala ang babata, parang
Mhm.
matuturuan ba na maano ba natin sila, matuturuan ba ng games? Pero after one run, sila na yung nagtuturo sa kapwa nila students ng game.
Yep.
Grabe.
Yeah. Then nakakaaliw din doon eh. Parang, oh, nagets na nila agad.
Oo.
So, but it just shows na um, they're having fun, and syempre game design naman is about having fun. Sharing the experience of having fun as a hobby. And then being able to deploy and teach really fast, us on a tabletop advocate perspective. Kaya nasa arsenal na talaga ng mga variable play network yung larong ating games. May mga favorites kami dyan, Bagani for example, kasi alam nila na this is a prelude to Ticket to Ride. So if pa-go nila at mag-gets nila to sa yung Bagani, then we can easily move them to Ticket to Ride, and it's the best access point inward. And if yun nga, if you just really want to get them feeling the joy of it, salangan mo ng hugot, you're not gonna go wrong. It's a done deal. But if they're sort of historical fans, you have a lot of games that we can try out. And yun, I'm excited nga for size talangkaan because I know it's gonna be a riot. And yeah, those are the things where it is something that's really magnified when you're at the convention proper and you're volunteering. Siguro as a core gamer, if you're just playing, you don't really see it. Like, when am I gonna play Darna? Right? Parang ganun, I have love letter, why would I play Darna? But, yun nga, tama si Nico eh. But Darna, love letter doesn't represent, like, there's no princess. Like, in love, like, sending a love letter to the princess in a Filipino context. There's, I mean, may prinsesa, but like, tattoo and prinsesa, sure. But it's very different. It's very, very different.
Tsaka iba yung I know most gamers will find like shouting Darna a little corny, pero when you bring that to the casual, sobrang excited sila sumigaw
Yeah.
ng
Yeah.
Darna. And yeah, and yun, and usually it's funny pa na yun, yung usual where Darna actually does really well also with girls, which are usually underrepresented in tabletop gaming, but they become extra competitive because sila yung gustong sumigaw ng Darna. So yun, it's different. Sometimes fluff things are taken for granted, pero when you bring it out to players where it resonates with them, iba siya.
Yep.
Yeah.
Agree. Agree.
I have to clarify some things because we in our discussions ngayon, we compared Bagani to Ticket to Ride and Darna to Love Letter. To people who have not tried these games, do not get it into your heads that these are clones or reskins of those games.
Yeah.
These games, LarongAtin games, are not clones or reskins of existing games. They take inspiration from those things and add something, or to make a twist to make it distinctly Filipino. And there's usually going to be a very brilliant, at least for me, otherwise hindi ko yan it wouldn't be part of Larong Atin. Meron siyang twist or variants na ginawa that makes it brilliant, at least for me, diba? That's why they're part of that stable. If somebody brings a game to me na talagang niriskin niya lang, nilagyan niya ng Filipino team, tapos obvious na obvious kung anong game yung niriskin niya, or worse, hindi na lang tayo magbibigay ng pangalan,
Niriskin na nga.
Sa mapa ang lumabas dahil hindi niya naiintindihan yung basics, yung mga math nung original na game design, hindi yan lulusot.
Parang ano yan, sir? Parang yung pirated version ng exploding kitten, tapos puro kitten.
O yung parang hindi nila naintindihan
May
kung ano
ganun.
yung game. Akala nila yung mga cute cats lang. Yun eh. So I've seen games like that even reach the published stage and being marketed. So at least itong yung mga games under Larong Atin, they've all gone through a lot of scrutiny, 90% of the games, maybe 95% of the games that go through the process don't make it through alive.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
Mm.
Marami
Yeah.
most of the games end up on the editing
Na,
room floor. Andun siya,
Mm.
cut up and then
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah.
So
The
so
Yeah.
these games are very, are actually good. And even if you're a core gamer, there's probably something you will appreciate with it.
mm.
Even if akala nyo is, ano to, sobrang simplified na ganito, ganito. No, it's not. Uh, they're simple, but they're very unique. And
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
something even
Yeah.
in core game.
So definitely we added, hey Mikey,
Mm.
itong naging speaker namin. Grabe.
Oh.
And again, yung yung effectiveness, we streamed it, no? Dito naman sa VP. So for the
Mm-hmm.
ones who were able to watch, if you missed it, just go back a few episodes. You can find it in the Larong Ating page on the VP page. Sobrang, basta pagka we're talking about government or like advocacy, NGO, ipasok mo ngayon si Teacher Mikey. Kasi nung tinanong Mr. Freddy nung una, o Ron, sinong pag-speaker natin for this one? Kasi nag-request sila ng speaker. Sabi ko, sir, si Mikey po dapat dito. Kasi talagang he will be able to rally everyone, rally the kids and the parents all at the same time. And ganun nga ginawa niya. He was able to play Pawikan Patrol while explaining the values and the purpose and how to use Pawikan Patrol or end gaming in the classroom setting while getting everybody sort of through the instructions of the game and then
Mm-hmm.
giving them the experience and then sort of selling the advocacy components, the theme. Parang kahit kami ni Sir Freddy, oh, I've never like seen Pawikan Patrol, in that light. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
yes, we played it and we know the advocacy, but to see it in action and then you see all the kids na parang tipong may kaba sila bago bumunot si Mikey for the next card. And nagawa niya yun in 30 minutes. And something that we yeah normally can't see is that Mikey. No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay, so yun. Quite amazing. Quite amazing. Okay. Press time.
Yeah.
Still away time.
Ah,
Removing this one. Okay, there you go.
okay. So, yeah, the games that we do, um yes, there's a lot of inspiration from games abroad, definitely. But that's just how game design is in
Mm-hmm.
general. Even internationally, it's the same. Like Space Base is obviously taking
Machikoro.
inspiration from Machikoro. Um, all deck
Machikoro is just
builders. Yeah, all deck builders
also
are building on Dominion or
Mm-hmm.
Ascension. Parang yun. Yeah, that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to add something. What's the word?
Building
your
Novel
USP.
to
You know
to
your
yeah,
your unique your unique
yeah,
selling proposition. What makes your
Mm-hmm.
game unique?
Yes.
So you
yeah.
can't just copy. Definitely. So like
Mm,
Codes and Verses, it's just apples to apples.
mm-hmm,
Snake Oil, apples to apples. That's pretty much Codes and Verses and every other Cards Against Humanity variant. But yeah,
mm,
the approach is, oh, my content is coming in from a very different perspective that you haven't really seen applied in that component, and then yeah, you're given likes, hearts, and likes.
yeah. But what
Okay.
matters is you know how to copy, in the sense that you understand the principle
Mm-hmm.
behind the mechanics, so that when
Yes.
you utilize it, you're utilizing it properly. Because there are
Yeah, actually,
sometimes na
the term is not copy. It's always you know how to innovate, and innovate is always coming
innovate.
from a
yes,
Innovate.
baseline. You always
mm,
come from a baseline. Copy
Mhm.
kasi talaga wala kang gagawin eh. But
yeah, yeah,
innovation is
yeah,
always taking an idea or a capability or concept or technology and then building on top of it, building on
yeah,
it, building around it, And gano'n din naman nag-spin off yung deck builders to its incarnations of today, the worker placement. No, back in the day, na you just have a bunch
Mhm.
of workers. You're putting it on the now. You have workers. The workers can have different body parts. The workers can have different colors and effects depending on
And
where they
yeah,
are.
and it's
So
also combining multiple ideas
Mhm.
from different sources, and
yeah.
also combining ideas from outside of gaming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to also get ideas from outside of gaming all too. So like I think yung Lastic Man, si Aa, kasi si Aa yung gumawa nun. I think he got the idea from there was a time na parang there were memes about that, yung parang what's the ano yung odd one out sa internet. Parang mga ganun lang. And then that's how I think he came up with that Plastic Man idea. So it wasn't even from gaming. If I remember, I have to ask him. Baka mali pala yung sinasabi ko. So
No,
yun.
no, no. But again,
Hmm.
um, the it is, and it's actually quite challenging to build games like that. People don't realize that there's a lot of math involved to build
Mhm.
it. Double, which is somewhat in that same line, but this one you just have
Mhm.
to spot which one is the different one. There's an actual formula for it. There's a
Mm.
way to derive how many cards and how many icons you can use and so forth. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, in the end though, the challenge nga is that if you're building it for a specific market and for designing for accessibility, Plataforma's price point was so engineered, like we really used every milligram, every every inch of
Para
that
matipid.
thing,
Lahat
you
ng
know. Everything has been used to its fullest capability. That way we can really decrease the price point, make it affordable to people, which is something that we don't see in more modern games nowadays. They just,
Mhm.
napaka-normal na ang base price ng mga board games 2,000. That's that a 2,000 game now, yan ang expected size,
Yun nga.
Mm.
right? Which is
Yeah.
Mhm.
crazy now. That's a 2K where it used to be a bigger box. Now
Mhm.
the bigger boxes automatic na yan, 4,000, 5,000. You start to see the coffin. Wala na, pumapalo ka
Yeah.
ng games now can cost like 10,000. 10,000 pesos
Mhm.
for a board game.
Mm.
Oo nga,
So
nagiging
pa,
issue na yung pag-import eh. I mean,
Yung
di
even
ba?
you back you KS something now, you have to compute, okay, so sobra na ba ako sa fill post na price?
Di ba?
Dati,
Kaya
hindi
So,
naman
nabanggit ko
issue
rin
yun eh.
kay Sir
yung
Freddy
mga
na
addict sa Kickstarter, lahat ng add-ons kinukuha na hindi naman talaga kailangan para to play the
hindi
game.
na niya
Pero
malalaro.
lahat,
naka-flasher pa.
sige, get everything, all the
Naka-plastic
bling, di
pa.
ba?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But, yun nga.
But,
So,
hmm.
again, we are in essence seeing how we can. It's not just entirely like just filling the gap, but the goal is to help out in building the community. Um, we have a lot of experience and our talent that we've accumulated over the years, coming from different backgrounds. Uh,
Yeah.
Sai is coming from a design background. Nico is actually coming from an arts, music, theory, and then going into engineering. I'm from ITs or Freddy's on the retail industry for quite some time. And we're all coming in and seeing, hey, well, how can we contribute here in gaming? I went in towards community building. I'm helping out also in game design. And then we're seeing, uy, may mga pwede tayong tulungan dito. Parang, uy, parang kulang ng suporta sa ganitong aspect. Parang
Yeah.
walang gumagawa nga ng games para sa ganito. And yan, ang pangarap talaga natin is just be able to do what like Singapore's doing. So games like these, like Oh My Orchids, tapos mabibili mo sa 7-Eleven. But
Yeah.
if we reach that level, even if, you're not necessarily making it right there, the fact that you can at least make it as accessible now to people as much as you can, mga tanong nila sa atin, Sir Freddy, is, where can we buy this? And if you
Mhm.
say neutral grounds, it's not yet quite familiar. Like, as a core gamer, who doesn't know neutral grounds?
Mhm.
90% of the population, or even
Yeah.
more, right? Because they're not familiar. They're not familiar with the
Mhm.
market, so they don't know us. They don't know the stores where they can buy stuff. So ang pinaka next mo lang, ay, search nyo lang po, meron po yan sa Shopee tsaka Lazada.
Yun.
Ayun na, at
Mhm.
least medyo familiar na sila. Di ba?
Mhm.
Pero if you say, here's the store, here's Indie Steel, here's Neutral Grounds, you have to explain it a bit pa. Doon sa core gamer, may mga few core gamers doon sa event.
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay, sige po. Meron naman po dyan sa Trinoma or meron po sa wherever nila na nakita yung game. But yeah, I think that's where we are coming in from. That's
Yeah.
how we can contribute. So
Th-
any
There's
last
all there's also another
go ahead, Nick.
aspect that we forgot to touch on, and that's also just in nourishing. No, not nourishing. What's the word? Sorry, medyo
Nurturing.
slow pa ako. Nurturing, yeah. Medyo I realized just in this show na medyo slow pa ako from my surgery, but
It's
nurturing
the
the
implant.
local. It's the
You know
implant.
what?
It's ano, but nurturing the local talent.
Mm,
Um, because larong atin is also it's something to strive for in a sense. Like parang may mapupuntahan naman talaga yung pagde-design for one. I mean, if not all games are publishable, but there is an opportunity for it. But also, even if there isn't, at least there's a group of people who are there to help each other and make the games that we want to make. Kasi unlike other, well, I don't know about other mediums like novels or comics or stuff, but I would suspect some of those you can actually do on your lonesome, like that parang image of that writer in the basement suddenly comes out in this novel na sobrang galing. Maybe that's possible, but in game design it's not possible because there's a human element, there's an interactive element, and so it really takes a community to build a game. And this effort, since magkasama tayong lahat, at least we're able to support each other, help each other, grow also the talent and our skills. Because if we were to work individually alone, we wouldn't really be able to accomplish anything.
yeah.
So that's important. On my end, since yun, we have um unfortunately nga yung the only games that have a chance of being published are sort of the mass market games because of the business quantity, etc. I'm also looking into the print on demand side of game publishing so that we can have a chance naman to publish the gamier games which don't have a as big a market, but at least hindi the risk is minimized because it's print on demand.
Right.
So at least may possible outlet for the gamier games that like ako as a gamer, I also want to make gamier games. Medyo nagsasawa na din ako sa puro mass market games. Not that we don't hate it, but parang you also want to make for yourself sometimes.
Sure.
Um so there's that. And then
Okay.
I think I was yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Nico. Sir Freddy, any last thoughts, and then we can close off the episode.
Uh, it's time na to para mag-plug. Okay? I'm going to plug an upcoming event called the Manila Game Fest. Specifically for aspiring game designers, we're going to have a special guest for Manila Game Fest. It's going to be Daryl Chow. Yung game niya kanina
Yay!
pinakita ni Ron. So he's coming over for Manila Game Fest. He's going to have a talk during Manila Game Fest. He's going to talk about the role of using culture. Ito na naman tayo, si Mikey sa cultural appropriation eh. Using culture as part of game design. If you notice a
Yun
lot
yan eh.
of the popular games ni Daryl na ang dami niya nang nabenta na 7-Eleven, they're all based on Singapore culture. And ito na yung nakita kong gusto kong nating direction for larong atin is yun nga, which we already are doing, except that we weren't that conscious about it before. But now I think we're going to be more conscious about it. Was we want to feature our local culture, and actually yan yung mga pinapakita ni Ron ngayon, at sa talagang ano na ganun na yung direction natin.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to be a very good talk with Daryl. Manila Game Fest, May 20, SMX Convention Center. Tickets can be found on Shopee and Lazada. Tapos magkakaroon na rin siguro by next week ng tickets sa Neutral Ground stores. Other games to be played there. There's going to be lots of games. There's going to be a Magic the Gathering, Flesh and Blood, Warhammer. There's going to be painting. If you want to join the painting contest on the spot, painting on the spot, tapos may contest doon. I think, I'm not sure how much the prizes were. I think maybe mga 10,000 pesos worth of, I don't know. So if you win,
Cool.
painting contest, yung on the spot painting contest,
Na.
medyo
The
maganda
most money we've made. If you win there.
Yeah. You have to be successful somewhere else nga eh. Yeah. Yung Magic tournament doon, 100,000 pesos in cash prizes. Tapos may Flesh and Blood din. And I think there's going to be board games, of course. Main feature doon is going to be the Giant Azul and the 3D Catan.
Ooh.
So if you want to play with the blingier whatever na
Board game.
Azul or Catan, just go there and then play the game. So
Dapat yung Giant Azul, yung tawag nyo, Big Azul.
tapos Ron will be interviewing, will be the host for that yung talk
nice.
ni Daryl. I'm pretty sure VPN team will also be there. Ano ba? So yun, Manila Game Fest, May 20, SMX Convention Center.
Gusto niyo ba, sir, na isama natin yung giant version ng Folded Wishes?
Oo, at saka yung Giant, si Mikey may Giant Pawikan Patrol eh. Diba?
Yan, pwede.
Yun, yung mga Giant version ng Folded Wishes, Giant Pawikan Patrol, labas rin natin.
Sige, sir.
Yun, so yun, plug lang.
Gawa tayong Giant Plastic Man. Tapos tatakbo kayo sa palitan nyo card.
Pwede. May kasamang
Hindi,
physical exercise,
dude.
no?
Yung palitan nyo card is like yung that tape game thing.
May
tao.
twist. And yung palitan nyo cards, mayroong tao naka-costume ng palitan nyo cards, tapos hahabulin nyo yung tao ngayon.
may nakalampara, may naka-cosplay.
May naka-cosplay.
Pwede. Find Waldo na ang answer. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. So, thank you everyone. And yes, we would love to see you in ang gulo ng Giant Plastic Man. Go ahead.
I'll plug then and share kasi so if you want to see more content, I've been doing a lot of LarongAtin content on TikTok, so you can follow me there. Hanapin niyo na lang Nicanor tas 3 R sa dulo. I also have Instagram and Facebook, pero since may watermark ng TikTok, hindi binuboost ng Instagram tsaka TikTok. Na kitang-kita ko, parang one time I did one video na walang watermark, ang daming views. Tas yung mga may watermark, mga 20 views lang, ganun. But it's a known thing that if you share your TikTok videos onto IG or Facebook, the algorithm of IG and Facebook will suppress it. That's a known thing. But you can follow it if you don't have TikTok. You can follow it just so that makikita niyo yung content ko. But what I wanted to share was earlier today or yesterday, na-curious lang ako kasi I've been using the hashtag LarongAtin for the TikTok videos that I do that are LarongAtin. And actually, search mo hashtag LarongAtin.
Card game.
Search mo hashtag LarongAtin.
On TikTok?
Yeah. Sige nga.
Ano walang lumalabas?
On the app kasi you can filter it na parang per hashtag. And the hashtag the hashtag LarongAtin on TikTok has 4.5 million views.
Wow.
Yeah, na
Nice.
halos I think ako lang ata yun.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Tignan nyo naman, guys, actually, celebrity tong si Nico. Hindi lang yan, humble lang yan. Tignan nyo naman ang views, guys. 1M lang naman ang hugot niya. Di ba? Yung mga tig to 10, 30,000, 14,000, almost half a million on watch list.
That was
Crazy.
though, before the algorithm changed. Ngayon, not so much. Pero okay lang. For fun lang
No,
naman.
and ganun daw talaga. You have to keep
Yeah,
like
yeah.
changing your content
Yeah.
to adapt to
You
the
have to...
whatever algorithm they do.
Yeah,
And
natutuwa nga yung mga tao. Ngayon kasi I'm posting my updates on my surgery. So natuwa sila sa staple sa ulo ko. Kasi before I had them removed. Kaya lang, I post the video wherein tinanggal ng doctor yung staples. Flinag ng TikTok for graphic and gore. Yung TikTok
Malamang.
naman, nag-ano. It's just, hindi naman bloody. It was just for educational purposes. I'm appealing it. I'm waiting for them to restore it sana. So, yan.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Mm.
See you, and thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you again everyone for here for sharing your time. We'll see you guys again next month for the Lorong Atin monthly episode. Until next time, Robbie the Bear. Thank you. Good evening. Bye.
Bye. Bye.